While news cameras focus on New York's snowfall, 35 people just lost their lives to the cold. 36,000 Americans sitting in pitch black darkness right this second. And here's what's surprising. This isn't even where the heaviest snow is falling. So let me show you what's happening that hasn't made headlines yet. It's day 1 of Winter Storm Round 2, and the situation is still developing. Major news outlets are naturally covering the big cities, which makes sense. But here's what's emerging. The most severe impact isn't happening in New York. It's happening right now in Appalachia. West Virginia, Western Maryland. Ever even heard of these places? Most people haven't heard much about these areas yet, and that's understandable on day 1. Look, when winter storms hit, damage assessments take time to compile, but early data is already showing some critical patterns we need to watch. And right now, the early numbers are already concerning. Let me walk you through what we know so far, because this is developing rapidly. Virginia, 5 confirmed deaths from hypothermia and cold exposure. Maryland, 35 winter-related fatalities, and 8 of those happened just this week. Washington, D.C., 3 suspected hypothermia deaths under investigation right now. But here's what's really important to understand about these deaths. These people didn't die because snow buried them alive. They died because when the power went out, their homes turned into freezers. Imagine you're 78 years old. The heat cuts out at midnight. By 3 a.m., you're seeing your breath inside your own bedroom. By 7 a.m., the water in your toilet bowl starts forming ice crystals. That's when hypothermia creeps in and shuts your body down. Or picture this, you're homeless. Temperatures drop to 15 degrees. Every shelter within 20 miles is already packed beyond capacity. Where exactly are you supposed to go? And that brings us to the most catastrophic part of this whole situation. The total collapse of the power grid right now across the Appalachia region. Here's what we're staring at. Over 36,000 people in the dark. That's like the entire city of Charlottesville gone black. Virginia alone, 10,412 customers without power. West Virginia, another 6,500, has 20,000 people offline. So what the hell is knocking out all this power? Wind, gusts between 50 and 60 miles per hour. That's basically hurricane force winds. Those winds are literally ripping trees onto power lines like dominoes. And this is exactly why Appalachia is way more dangerous than New York. New York has modern infrastructure to handle this. Appalachia faces much older systems. Let me paint you the nightmare that's unfolding in West Virginia right now. Official winter storm warnings covering 16 entire counties. They're bracing for 5 to 10 inches of snow with 55-mile-per-hour winds. Visibility dropping to near zero during peak conditions. This is legitimate whiteout territory. Step outside and you'll lose direction in seconds. Search and rescue teams literally can't find people standing 20 feet away in this mess. Now let's talk about the accidents flooding hospitals right now. Emergency rooms across the Washington-Virginia corridor are getting absolutely slammed. Massive spike in bone fractures, head injuries, all from people eating it on ice. And here's the twisted math. For every 1 person who dies in these storms, another 10 to 15 end up in the ER with serious injuries. So what about the financial devastation? Right now, there's no official damage estimate for West Virginia, and Maryland. But let me give you some perspective on the scale here. A recent U.S. winter storm racked up $105 to $115 billion in damage nationwide. Now, even though Appalachia has way fewer people, the damage per person is actually insanely higher. And here's why. Houses are scattered across mountains like breadcrumbs. Power lines are strung above ground on flimsy wooden poles from the 1950s. Dense forests everywhere mean trees are falling, like it's a damn lumberjack convention. So here's the bottom line you absolutely need to understand. Right this minute, Appalachia is experiencing some of the worst impact from this storm. Not New York, where coverage is understandably concentrated. Not Chicago, where infrastructure is more resilient. The forgotten mountain communities. The places not getting record snowfall, but racking up the highest death tolls. Now let me break down which specific areas are at highest risk of losing power for 3 to 5 days. Drop a comment if you're in one of these zones so we know you're paying attention. Number 1, and this is absolutely critical, West Virginia. Charleston, Huntington, Morgantown, Beckley. If you're there, listen up. So why is this the most dangerous zone in America right now? 80 to 90% of power lines are strung on wooden poles, not safely buried underground. Dense Appalachian forests everywhere just waiting to collapse. Wet snow and ice coating every power line as I'm literally speaking right now. And mountain winds create this terrifying acceleration effect through the valleys. Here's what's happening in real time. Ice builds up on lines. Wind slams through. Trees fall in waves like a chain reaction. Entire power grids go down. Not just one neighborhood, entire counties. This isn't a quick 4-hour fix. We're talking 3 to 5 days in the dark. Historically, West Virginia holds the record for longest power outages during ice storms. Number 2, Western Maryland, especially Cumberland and Hagerstown areas. This region is a nightmare for power restoration crews. Mountain terrain everywhere you look. Roads completely choked with snow and fallen trees. Repair crews literally can't reach the damaged areas to even start work. And here's the insane part. Power companies have to send snowplows first just to clear roads before repairs can begin. Number 3, Southwest Virginia. Cities like Roanoke and Blacksburg. This region has a brutal pattern that keeps repeating every single storm. City centers get power back within hours, but rural areas stay dark for days. Why does this keep happening? Simple. With limited resources. Power companies focus on high-density areas first. If you live in rural areas, restoration naturally takes longer due to logistics. Now let's look at medium-risk areas that get way more media coverage. Washington, D.C. and Northern Virginia. They're getting less snow than Appalachia, but dealing with brutal winds. What you'll likely see here, power outages lasting a few hours, maybe up to 1 day max. Trees falling into houses and cars. However, multi-day blackouts are pretty rare here. The electrical infrastructure is way more robust, and repair crews can mobilize and fix things lightning fast. Now this might actually surprise you. New York City. Low risk of widespread power outages. Believe it or not. Yeah, NYC is dealing with absolutely brutal temperatures. But check out why they're actually safer. Most power lines are buried safely underground, not exposed. Buildings have central heating systems throughout, and their repair crews are massive and well-equipped. What typically goes wrong in NYC? Subway trains slow down or temporarily stop. Water pipes freeze and burst in old buildings. But you won't see entire neighborhoods dark for 3 days straight. So why is Appalachia the real crisis zone everyone's ignoring? In America, winter storms basically fall into 2 categories. Category 1, nor'easters slamming New York and Boston with massive snowfall. Tons of snow, but fewer people actually freezing to death. Category 2, ice storms and Arctic blasts crushing Appalachia. Less total snow, but way higher body counts. And here's why. Homes are completely dependent on electricity for heating. When power dies, indoor temperatures plummet to freezing within just 6 to 10 hours. So what could potentially happen in the next 48 to 72 hours? Here's what's highly likely to unfold. Emergency warming centers will open across the entire region. Desperate people will start burning wood or coal inside their homes to survive. This always leads to carbon monoxide poisoning. Silent, deadly, preventable. And here's the really dark part. Deaths actually spike after the storm passes. This is backed by hard US statistics. More people die in the aftermath than during the actual storm itself. Now, if you're in one of these high-risk areas, here's what you need to do right now. Charge every single device you own. Phones, tablets, power banks. Fill your bathtub with water before power goes out. You'll need it for flushing toilets. Stock up on non-perishable food that doesn't require cooking or refrigeration. If you have a fireplace or wood stove, make absolutely sure your chimney is clear. Never, and I mean never, use gas stoves or grills for indoor heating. That's how people die. Know where your nearest emergency warming center is and how to get there safely. Check on elderly neighbors, especially those living alone without family nearby. Keep your car's gas tank at least half full in case you need to evacuate. And if roads become impassable, do not attempt to drive. Stay put and call for help. Comment below and let me know which area you want updates on. Are you in West Virginia? Virginia, Maryland? Drop your location so I know where to focus. Because as day 1 unfolds, the national focus is naturally on major metropolitan areas. But it's important to know where the infrastructure challenges are most severe, where power restoration timelines are longest due to terrain and aging infrastructure, where emergency response teams face the biggest logistical challenges, and where communities may need additional support in the coming days. 35 confirmed deaths as of this morning. And remember, this is still early day 1. These numbers will likely increase as damage assessment teams reach more remote areas. Not because anyone's ignoring these areas, but because it takes time to get complete reports. If you found this information helpful, please share it with others who might need to know, especially if you have friends or family in the affected regions, because the next 72 hours will determine whether this disaster gets worse or stabilizes. Understanding where infrastructure challenges are greatest helps direct resources effectively. Stay safe out there, especially if you're in the danger zones, and keep watching for updates.